Meantime, Mr. Biden is moving ahead with his transition plans. He's named political veteran Ron Klain as his chief of staff. Mr. Klain has served as a top aide to Mr. Biden since he was a senator and later when he became vice president. Mr. Klain helped coordinate the fight against Ebola during the Obama administration. Now, he's been a strong critic of incumbent President Donald Trump and his handling of the COVID-19 pandemic. Mr. Biden will have to navigate through obstacles as the Trump campaign refuses to concede defeat. He's already been blocked from receiving intelligence briefings. Republican Senator James Lankford has said he will intervene if Mr. Biden does not get access to those briefings by this Friday. Simon Marks joins us live now from
Marks joins us live from Washington, D.C. For more on this. Simon, what significance is it that Ron Klain's appointment has been made as Chief of Staff?
Well, in many ways, Steve, this was the most expected appointment in imagination by President-elect Joe Biden. He'd signalled many weeks ago that Ron Klain was a contender for the position of White House Chief of Staff. Mr. Klain has had a long association with Joe Biden dating back to the 1990s. He was a key figure in the Obama White House. As you said, he was President Obama's Ebola czar, and he has been publicly very critical of President Trump, and particularly with regard to his handling of COVID-19. So I think what Joe Biden is doing with this appointment is sending a message, particularly to Washington, that an era of predictability and stability is about to begin, because we had all expected that Ron Klain absolutely would be appointed to this role.
Now, also, Simon, in terms of Mr. Biden, his intelligence briefings have been blocked, but Senator Lankford says he's going to do something about it. And what can he do exactly?
Well, I mean, what he is doing is kind of publicly shaming the boss, President Trump, who is refusing to give President-elect Joe Biden access to the daily intelligence briefings that the president-elect by now really, under traditional circumstances, would be receiving. So Senator Lankford is a member of the Senate Oversight Committee, and he's essentially giving President Trump a deadline of Friday to begin complying with the traditional procedures here in Washington, D.C., or he says he's going to take this issue further. Now, it's not clear to me what he can do, because ultimately it's the president's decision not just to share intelligence briefings with Joe Biden, but to authorize every government department to start working in conjunction with Joe Biden's transition team. But it is a clear indication that patience, at least among some Republicans on Capitol Hill, with Donald Trump and the antics in which he's currently engaged, is not infinite, and that Senator Lankford is really drawing a line in the sand and saying, on this issue of giving the president-elect intelligence briefings, American national security could be at risk here. There's no downside to doing it. Get on with it.
And what about the patience of the president-elect himself, Mr. Biden? Simon, we know that he hasn't been allowed access to the resources from the State Department, as would normally happen. He's kind of a very sort of calm figure through all of this. Do you think his patience will also be wearing thin?
Look, I think with every passing day, the absence of any cooperation between the Trump government and the Biden transition team becomes potentially disruptive. But as a former senior Republican official was saying to me earlier in the week, you know, Joe Biden has an extensive Rolodex. He knows all the people that he needs to reach out to, not just here in Washington, but around the world. And while the State Department may be sitting on documentation relating to some leaders' phone calls and congratulatory telegrams and the like, at the end of the day, Joe Biden's got his own independent connections to many of these people. However, clearly the Biden team would like the transition to be getting underway, because were that to happen, it would be a symbol that President Donald Trump was accepting reality and accepting the fact that he's into the last 70 days of his administration, which at the moment he has not publicly seemed to acknowledge.